Among the countless emotions we encounter in professional settings, one particularly insidious sentiment lurks beneath the surface: Schadenfreude. This German term, meaning harm joy, describes the unsettling pleasure some people derive from the misfortune or suffering of others. It seems incredible, doesn't it? But some people get immense pleasure from seeing others fail or when unfortunate things happen to them, whether they're the perpetrator or not. When intertwined with workplace bullying or sabotage, Schadenfreude takes a sinister form, amplifying the pain and suffering of the victim while feeding the darker impulses of those who commit such acts. In this video, we're taking a deep dive into Schadenfreude, workplace bullying, and sabotage. We're going to look at the root causes, the personal impact, and how to deal with it effectively. I'm Jo Banks. I've been a professional executive business coach for 15 years, and I'm sharing what I know. What is Schadenfreude? At its core, Schadenfreude reflects a dark aspect of human nature, where individuals find satisfaction or delight in witnessing the failure, embarrassment, or misfortune of their peers or competitors. However, it doesn't just happen in the workplace. It can happen anywhere. Think of the term we have in the UK, keeping up with the Joneses, where envy drives upgrades to houses, cars, jobs, and holidays, etc. While it may seem counterintuitive to express joy at the expense of others, the underlying mechanisms driving Schadenfreude are deeply rooted in social comparison and self-evaluation theories. In a workplace context where competition, ambition, and hierarchies exist, Schadenfreude finds fertile ground. Employees may experience this emotion when a colleague fails to achieve a promotion, makes a mistake, or faces professional setbacks. Instead of empathizing or offering support, some individuals may secretly, or not so secretly, revel in their co-workers' downfall, feeding their own sense of superiority or vindication. In cases of bullying, typically the downfall may have been caused by the abuser. As I've said in many videos, abusers and bullies build themselves up by putting others down, and the joy they get from someone else's misery or failure causes them great delight, especially if they're on that narcissistic spectrum and they're displaying those narcissistic traits. There's nothing a narcissist enjoys more than watching other people fail, as crazy as it sounds. The personal toll of workplace bullying and sabotage. Before delving into the nuances of Schadenfreude in the context of workplace bullying and sabotage, it's crucial to understand the profound impact these behaviours have on victims. First, we have emotional distress. Victims of workplace bullying and sabotage endure profound emotional distress, including feelings of fear, anxiety, and despair. The relentless, and it often is relentless, the relentless onslaught of mistreatment undermines their self-esteem and sense of worth and can leave lasting scars on their psyche. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I underwent horrendous workplace bullying and have, since setting up my own coaching practice 15 years ago, helped a significant number of people deal with it and overcome it too. But it isn't easy. It can take years, especially if you're unaware of exactly what happened to you and why. Especially in narcissistic bullying, many victims of bullies will blame themselves because we just don't see it coming, which is why I'm on a crusade to inform as many people as possible about workplace bullying, especially narcissistic bullying. Physical health effects. The stress and anxiety resulting from workplace bullying and sabotage can manifest in physical health issues, such as headaches, insomnia, digestive problems, aches and pains that never seem to go away, even with no underlying cause. The toll on the body can be tangible, worsening the already considerable mental anguish. I highly recommend the book The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk if you want to learn more about this topic. It's a fantastic book and it focuses on how trauma and stress are held in the body, not just in the mind. Another fantastic resource is Joe Dispenza. I definitely recommend his books, and he's been interviewed on many different big hitting podcasts, so you can find him really easily on YouTube. Isolation and alienation. Targeted individuals often experience profound isolation and alienation within the workplace. Fearful of further reprisals or ostracism, they may seem to withdraw from social interactions and professional networks, exacerbating their sense of loneliness and despair. As I've mentioned in previous videos, the need to belong to the tribe, and teams are the modern day equivalent, is deeply rooted in our DNA as a survival mechanism. It dates right back to our earliest ancestors, when being separated from the tribe meant certain death. We also now know through brain scanning technology that rejection and abandonment, whether real or perceived, light up the same parts of the brain as physical pain does. So being isolated or alienated, rejected or abandoned by the team can feel no different than being physically hurt. Career implications. Workplace bullying and sabotage can have significant ramifications for victims' careers, jeopardizing their professional prospects and advancement opportunities. The damage to their reputation and credibility may hinder their ability to secure future employment or pursue their chosen career path. Not to mention the fact that when a victim has undergone workplace bullying, their self-esteem, self-worth, and confidence will likely be severely damaged, affecting their performance during job search activities. Many clients who've undergone workplace bullying will tell me that they can no longer work at the same level, as quite clearly they're not up to the job. That's really common when I hear that, and it's really heartbreaking. Alternatively, they'll say that they simply cannot face the pressure any longer and must find a less stressful job. However, when I delve deeper, before this incident, they have likely had long and successful careers, many for several decades. So I work with them to re-establish their confidence, self-worth, and self-esteem to enable them to make the right next career move, not merely taking one because they think they have to, because of their mindset at that point in time. If I don't take the time to do that, the likelihood is that they will take a step down and end up even more unhappy, because everything that's in them that got them to that point in their career still exists. It doesn't go away. Plus, they've worked damn hard and long for their career. Why should they give it up because some person has been bullying them? A typical scenario when this happens is that people take a step back and end up working for someone who knows less than them, with far fewer skills, and who does not value their knowledge and experience. In fact, the new manager often becomes insecure and bullying can start all over again, making the whole situation far worse than it needs to be. So if you're going through this at the moment, please think carefully before taking a step back or down. Doesn't always work out. The role of Schadenfreude in workplace aggression. When individuals harbour feelings of envy, resentment, or insecurity, witnessing the misfortune or failure of their peers can evoke a twisted sense of satisfaction or vindication. This is particularly the case in narcissistic bullying. As I've said repeatedly, and I've said it earlier in this video, and I say it in every single video, bullies build themselves up by putting others down. In the context of workplace aggression and bullying, Schadenfreude manifests in several troubling ways. Derision and mockery. Perpetrators of workplace bullying and sabotage may openly mock or belittle their victims, deriving pleasure from their humiliation and suffering. The act of tearing others down bolsters their sense of superiority and dominance. If challenged, these people typically use gaslighting, saying things like, "I'm only joking, you just don't get my sense of humour." That's classic gaslighting. Next, we have sabotage and undermining. Saboteurs may engage in covert acts to undermine their colleagues' work or reputation, such as spreading malicious rumours, tampering with projects, or withholding critical information. Being missed off circulation lists. That's a biggie. These are common strategies used, especially in narcissistic bullying, during the devaluation and discard phases of the narcissistic cycle abuse. I've got a video on that. I'll leave the link below. Witnessing the downfall of their targets, their victims, if you like, fuels their sense of triumph and control. It gives the narcissist what we refer to as narcissistic supply, which is exactly what Schadenfreude is. To a narcissist, the joy they get from seeing others fail is like air, food, and water to them. They cannot live without it. And I know this sounds really strange, especially if you've not come across anything to do with narcissism before, but I've got loads of content on it. The links will be below. Please educate yourself. It's so important. Revenge and retaliation. In cases where individuals feel slighted or wronged by their colleagues, Schadenfreude can fuel vengeful impulses leading to acts of retaliation or retribution. The desire to see others suffer for perceived injustices becomes a driving force behind their actions. Unfortunately, I have seen this in action too, especially where some of my clients who've been subjected to the most horrendous bullying started because they said one small thing that the immature bully decided was a direct attack on them, when it wasn't at all. With such low emotional maturity, they weren't able to directly address the issue with the person who they thought they'd been wronged by, so covertly sought revenge whenever and wherever they could. Cultivating a culture of hostility. Schadenfreude perpetuates a workplace culture of hostility and mistrust, where colleagues view one another as adversaries rather than allies. The pervasive atmosphere of animosity breeds resentment, fear, and a pervasive sense of insecurity. This is the classic toxic work environment that leads to a lack of psychological safety. Understanding the root causes. To effectively address Schadenfreude-driven workplace aggression and bullying, it's essential to explore the underlying factors that contribute to it. First of all, we have insecurity and low self-esteem. Individuals who harbour deep-seated insecurities or feelings of inadequacy may resort to bullying and sabotage to compensate for their own shortcomings. Witnessing the failure of others validates their own sense of superiority and self-worth. Competitive environments. Intense competition for limited resources, recognition, or advancement can fuel Schadenfreude among colleagues. In such environments, individuals may view their peers as rivals to be conquered rather than collaborators or teammates. I've seen this particularly in high-pressure sales environments, trading floors, and legal offices. Perceived injustice. When individuals feel unfairly treated or overlooked within the organisation, they may derive satisfaction from the misfortune of those they perceived as having received preferential treatment or undeserved success. I've seen it happen where someone didn't get a promotion or someone relatively new was selected to be on a high-profile project over someone who'd been there much longer. Schadenfreude becomes a means of redressing perceived slights or grievances. In cases such as those, it actually isn't personal. The person would be envious of anyone who was given what they perceive as preferential treatment. Again, emotional immaturity comes into play here. If those people actually took a step back and considered why, if they had indeed been passed over, they might see that it was because of their disruptive behaviour. Lack of empathy and emotional intelligence. Individuals lacking in empathy or emotional intelligence, which pretty much all narcissists are, may struggle to recognise the impact of their actions on others. The inability to empathise with their victims allows them to rationalise their behaviour and justify their cruelty. Unfortunately, one of the top traits of narcissists is a lack of empathy. It's one of the easiest ways to spot a narcissist. They can mimic it if they want to, but they often can't keep up the charade and definitely don't feel it deep down. Coping strategies. For individuals subjected to Schadenfreude-driven workplace aggression, navigating the emotional and psychological fallout can be daunting. Here are some coping strategies to help mitigate. Again, I have covered all of these in more detail in previous videos. The links will be below. Firstly, and again, I say this in every single video I do on this type of topic, document all incidents. Keep detailed records of any instances of workplace bullying or sabotage, including dates, times, descriptions of the behaviour, and any witnesses. This documentation will serve as evidence if you decide to make a formal complaint at some point in the future. I would always suggest that you do this in the first instance sooner rather than later. HR will want to see the evidence, so make sure you have it to hand. They won't be able to do anything without it. Seek support. Reach out to trusted friends, family members, or colleagues for emotional support and validation. Sharing your experiences with others who empathise can provide comfort and reassurance during difficult times. Next, we have set boundaries, and I've got an entire video on setting boundaries in the workplace. Again, link will be below. Establish clear boundaries with perpetrators of workplace aggression, asserting your right to be treated with dignity and respect. Refuse to engage in confrontations or interactions that perpetuate further harm. And I've also done a video on the #1 strategy for dealing with narcissistic bullies, the grey rock technique. Details will be below. Practice self-care. Prioritise self-care activities that nurture your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Engage in activities that bring you joy and relaxation, whether that's exercise, meditation, or creative pursuits. Really important. So many people, when they're feeling stressed, stop doing all of those things that keep them well. When you're going through workplace conflict, it's critical to get the basics right. Good food, enough sleep, exercise, drinking enough water, and getting adequate daylight outside, not through a window. Seek professional help. Before the emotional toll of workplace aggression becomes overwhelming, seek professional help from a therapist, counsellor, or coach like myself. I specialise in workplace bullying. Many companies will offer coaching or therapy services through their employee assistance schemes, especially in the UK. Don't know much about that in the US, but certainly many companies do that in the UK. So it may be worth checking those out. Getting the right support can provide valuable guidance as you navigate the challenges ahead, minimising the impact and helping you move through the situation with clarity and purpose. One thing that I haven't said that I think is really important, always try and nip this type of behaviour in the bud. Most narcissists and most bullies are just looking for easy targets. They don't go after people that stand up to them in general anyway. Some go after everyone, but that's quite rare. So nipping this type of behaviour in the bud, having those conversations and saying what is acceptable or not acceptable really early on in the very first time you see it happen is absolutely critical. The wrap up. Schadenfreude-driven workplace bullying and sabotage take a heavy toll on individuals, inflicting profound emotional, psychological, and even physical harm. By recognizing the insidious role of Schadenfreude in perpetuating these harmful behaviors, and by implementing coping strategies to mitigate their impact, you can reclaim a sense of agency and resilience. Ultimately, fostering a culture of empathy, respect, and accountability within the workplace is crucial to combating Schadenfreude-driven aggression and creating environments where everyone can thrive and succeed without the fear of mistreatment or harm. What next? If you have any words of wisdom on this topic or any questions you'd like me to answer, please leave them in the comments section below. I really do love interacting with you all and very much value your feedback. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. Finally, as always, a huge thank you to everybody who stays until the very end, and thank you so much for all your support. It means the absolute world to me.